Good morning. This is Rod from the Australian Academy of Tai Chi. Just about to start our active and healthy Tai Chi session this morning. Just waiting for a moment for a few more people to just join in as we get started. There we go, I can see a few people starting to tune in. Hope it's going well for you. Keeping up the practice of the Tai Chi movements. Again, I'd really like to hear where and how you practice, and if you'd like to take any pictures of yourself practicing, or each other practicing maybe, if you're with somebody else, it'd be really nice to see what you're actually doing out there. Well, to start off with, just want to do a little bit of the usual sort of things, preparation exercises, and I've been emphasising this hand exercise a lot. It started with our arthritis program, but these days I'm just reminding everybody all the time to wash your hands properly and make sure you get into all the surfaces, all the different areas there. And it is a good warm-up and loosening up exercise for the tendons and the connective tissues through the hands. And be gentle on yourself, especially if you're having any trouble with the joints, if they're a bit inflamed or anything like that. But there's a lot of energy points in the hands. And, the hands are also an area where stress shows up. So it's good to be able to loosen and to relax the hands as well. So into this gap between the thumb and the hand, around the wrists. So as well as getting a little bit of a massage, I'm turning my arm, so I'm getting a little bit of focus on that rotation up into the forearm. And also just let them nice and loose. I give them a little bit of a shaking, as they say, shake a leg. A little bit of vibration, loosening up through the joints, down through the leg, down to the toes. Simple knee lifting exercises. That's something you can do at any time rather easily if you're mobile and you're able to get up and do that. Remember, I know I have some people that are not quite so mobile that follow the program. That's okay. You can do these exercises sitting as well as standing. One of the old favourites, swinging arms exercise. But just before we go into that, let's start feet first. Turn the toes in a little bit so they're as close as comfortable to parallel. Don't bend the knees too far, but sit down a little bit where you feel comfortable. and then activate the pelvic floor, the abdomen, the lower back, so you sit up straight and you feel that you engage the muscles on the thighs. You want to use the muscles around the middle of the body, around the hips, to rotate and turn through the hip joints without putting any unnecessary strain onto the knees themselves. Look around as you turn, let the waist flex and move a little bit. All of this helps to increase the circulation between the vertebrae, the discs, all the little muscles around the spine. The shoulders, well, I guess a lot of people relax too much and slouch down and hollow the chest too far. You want to relax the chest when you breathe out, but you also want to keep your shoulders up, keep your shoulders back, so that there's a little bit of tone in the muscles in between the shoulder blades. And this is very good for helping to maintain that upright posture. And we see a lot of older people start to get tired, and maybe stresses of life are wearing them down a little bit, but if we can work on those muscles and keep the shoulders back nice and square, activate those muscles in the middle of the spine, the upper back, the thoracic spine, and that helps the arms hang loose, and they can really be relaxed shoulders so that they flow around. Even the neck, again, some people may not be able to go quite as far. You can keep looking straight ahead, and that'll give you a gentle exercise, or just let the head turn naturally with the body. But I also like to try and go that little bit further, to look around, see how far I can go comfortably. Keeping the head up, of course. You put the neck down, then it gets all sorts of strain and stress there, and that's not so good. Swinging arms exercise. This is my old favourite. I always come back to this one. I've been sitting down for a while, I've been driving long distances and things like that. Before I go for a swim or surf, I might loosen up through the middle of the body. It's such a versatile exercise. A few different variations. The butterfly, waving the arms, sitting to scoop and gather, lifting with the wrists, pushing out through the palms. In the wild goose, there's the migrating geese, flying great distance. And we use that one within the 18 techniques as well. But combining them together, and I might just turn around to make it a little bit easier to be able to follow this part of the exercise. You have the lifting and the lowering, turning to the side. When you go to the left hand goes behind the back. Again, I'm even thinking of this Hegu point, making a connection with the Mingmen, the kidney area. Focus on the Lao Gong, the palms pushing out, coming up onto the other side there. So if it's a bit cool, you might want to go a little bit faster sometimes as a warm-up exercise, but to really get the most out of that as a Qigong, then it's best to slow down and focus on the breathing. Relax down. Breathe in. Open and expand the chest. Relax and release to sit with the hips. One of my favourites. Because it's such a complete exercise. It's working from the ankles, the knees, the hips, through the vertebrae of the spine, especially a little bit extra there at the waist, shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, even through the joints in the fingers if we let the hand flow to open and close a little bit with the palm. Push out with the palm. Relax and hollow the palm. The elegant white crane flying effortlessly through the clouds. Nice flow. Return to the center. Reaching and stretching, that's always something good to do. Reaching up, extend up with your fingers, like the monkey reaching to pluck the fruit. The ripest fruit's always just that little bit further away, and then to pull down relax and release the hand down by the side and stretch up again on the other side. I'm even moving my weight a little bit and stretching all the way from the toes up into the fingers and then pulling down. Of course, stretching to the arm is a part of this, but also stretching through the back and stretching through the abdomen, through all of the internal organs right inside the body. Reach, stretch, pull, and release. We get to do a couple of those sort of movements, reaching into the air and stretching, while we're doing the 18 techniques as well. But I want to do a bit more work on the legs. First, the horse riding stance. Sometimes we just practice quiet standing. It allows things to settle, to come back into the middle, to find that center right in the middle of the body. And it's not just bending the knees, but sitting from the middle, around the back here, the kidney area, the Ming Men, the bright gate, when that's healthy, when that area is free of stress, then the lower back and the kidneys and everything function much better. Sometimes I like to use a little bit of vibration massage just to help stimulate the circulation. And the lotus spiraling downwards, sitting down, sitting with the hips, activating the abdomen, engaging the muscles on the legs, gently stretching up through the back, chin in, head up, shoulders back, let the weight descend, but lift the spirit to keep the head up, standing tall. Getting the focus on the sitting with the hips. Sometimes we go a little bit wider with the horse to engage the muscles a little bit extra, a bit more load. Now sometimes we actually go a lot further, but just a little bit of extra sitting here this morning to help you think about the muscles here on the legs. Now, don't stand like a rock. I always say that we're not practicing to be a statue. We're practicing to be alive. And one of the most important parts of staying alive is breathing. You know what happens if you don't move and don't breathe? People get worried. So try and keep a focus that as you breathe, it's not just into the lungs. Try and use them as efficiently as you can, but try and get the feeling so it's like breathing through the toes, through the fingers, through the spine, whole body breathing. Engage the muscles. Gather and expand. We're really keeping a focus on sitting with the legs and from the middle of the body, but even there, I think a little change in the muscles, and not just in one set position. Sometimes the movement is so small that observers wouldn't notice, but I can still feel it. I encourage you to do the same. To settle, to sit into the horse riding stance. Now when we're doing our traditional Tai Chi and many of the other exercises, it's not so good to go wide because it's very difficult to try and move the weight all the way across to move the centre of gravity over the base of balance. And so we end up jerking or leaning or compensating for that. So the width that I encourage you to use is around about the width of the hips and the shoulders, so sort of straight down through the body. And then move the balance over so that you're literally standing on one leg. Let the hip turn a little bit, the knees stay in a good straight alignment, but take all the weight off that leg. It's just resting, passive on the ground. I want to try and emphasize this while we're doing the painting the rainbow across the sky. Now in painting the rainbow, it is best just to leave the leg passively resting. Don't even adjust the foot. Just let it stay there. So like yin-yang, one side's working harder, but the other side's completely empty, just resting. The weight of the leg is heavy, still strong, stable, with the balancing effect. So we're practicing to turn and rotate the hips. The other balanced position that we use is as we move the weight across, when we turn this way, we've got to be, again, careful not to twist that knee out of alignment, but to sit from the middle of the body. Again, if we focus on this area and keep the head up, that should be fairly easy to do. How far you go, well, that's another thing. Don't worry about how far anybody else goes. Go as far as you can comfortable, just to get that sitting and rotating. This time we're rotating on the leg that's supporting the body weight. To turn it into a little bit more of an exercise, you can start to use some of those movements, like pivoting on the ball of the foot, rotating the heel in and pushing the heel back out again. We use these actions when we're stepping and kicking and all sorts of other changes that we have during the flow and stepping exercises. Focus. Sometimes I do just do, some casual exercise to let loose, but focus adds another dimension. When we focus the mind on what we're doing, we get so much more out of the exercises. And that's even been verified by the Harvard Medical School research. The exercises, even doing exercise other than Tai Chi, the more mindful you are, it increases the benefit that you get out of the exercise. The physical part as well, not just the mind. The mind adds on a whole other dimension. 1, to get the balance. 2, to lift the knee. And then we say 3, to place the foot. So you might even just do a little stepping exercise, heel and toe. This helps to just a little bit of stretch out. Toes up, back in, with the thighs, a little bit down through the shin and the calves. Put the foot into position, nice and straight. Center the body first. 1, 2, lift the knee. And 3, place the foot. Being able to sit and extend the foot out. It depends a little bit on how far you can go comfortably, but if you start getting out of alignment, then you've overdone it. You get what you practice. So be very careful what you practice. It's how you practice. Be kind and gentle to yourself. Nurture. Cultivate your skill. When conditions are right, things thrive. 1, to get the balance. 2, to lift the knee. If you can bring the knee up and do a bigger circle, this is always a good one to work on. Remember, you can practice holding on to something as well so that you stay more relaxed and keep the center here in the middle of the body. You don't want any of that stress, straining and using unnecessary muscles. And again, you cultivate it. Practicing at the level that you can comfortably, being persistent to exercise regularly, and always trying to keep the best posture that you can, helping to keep everything in the best alignment that you can achieve without strain. One more change. You might do it down low if you like, or if you can hold the knee up and go up a little bit further, rotating the toes around in a circle using the muscles that connect to the knee, shin, calf, moving the Achilles tendon, and reverse direction. Good balance, good loosening exercise. tap the foot on the ground and help stimulate the nerves. And you get what you practice. Try to keep good alignment. If you've got stress and tension, you'll stay like that if the wind blows. The winds of time, that is. I'm just trying to find that open position where the whole body can move naturally, so the joints can work. It's a complete integration. If one part stopped working, even if you do this, it just becomes mechanical, and then it tends to lead to other parts getting out of alignment. But when everything moves from the middle, just like in our swinging arms exercise, it creates a flow, a smooth and continuous flow. Turning to the side, breathe in, sitting back down into the middle. Breathe out, engage the abdomen, the diaphragm. Breathe in slowly, fill the lower part of the lungs. Open to expand the chest. Relax, release the chest to return to the center. Sometimes the breathing might not work out for you. That's okay, just let it go. If you're relaxed, the breathing will naturally synchronize. And if you need to, you can always do more than one breath. Tai Chi Qigong Shibash. Preparation. Checking the feet, the knees, the hips, the shoulders. Chin in a little bit to lengthen the back of the neck to keep the top of the head up. Take a big breath in through the nose. Through the mouth is a cleaning breath. But normally we breathe in and out through the nose with the tongue on the palate just behind the top teeth, as if we're saying the letter L. We lower, we relax, we release, and we let go. Feel the skeleton, the spaces between the joints expanding, the weight in the body just hanging off the skeleton, letting the weight go through the feet into the ground. Even if you're in the building, through the floor, through the foundations. Your weight may be fairly insignificant in comparison to the weight of the building, but those foundations still have to take all the weight above down into the ground where it dissipates out. Sometimes it's nice to think about an image of the tree, those roots extending out wide, big distance around you. Just coming back to the breath. Relax and sink on the out breath. Push the hands forward. Use the legs to lift the body and extend to project the feeling out into the fingers. Bring the hands in, feel the air. Push the hands down through the air. Now really, there's nothing wrong with just waving the hands through the air and just making a smooth and continuous flow. It's better than doing it too rigid. But again, even here, it gives us an opportunity to focus on the internal skills of the traditional Tai Chi forms. Sitting makes the movement very strong or very stable. Using the whole body to lift, the yang energy rises and we can extend and project out. When we release, we do more than just lower the hands. I think of pushing the hands down through the air, feeling the air coming up through the spaces between the fingers. But it also helps me to think about sitting up. So the posture comes up when I sit down. I don't slouch or slump down, I just relax down in that sense. Sit up straight, head up, shoulders back. And then release the hands. Let's do that again with the breathing in. Out. Relax. mindful awareness of yourself and your surroundings. Harmony of the mind, the body, and the breath. Changing, opening, relaxing, releasing, sitting up straight, focus, let go. And although I try and express the movement as much as possible through my body language to give an idea of the movements, sometimes you really can't trust me. I might be doing something different to what I'm actually saying. And one hint for that, especially for other Tai Chi instructors out there, to always remember, you might be talking about the in-breath, but if you're talking, you can't possibly be breathing in. You're breathing out while you do that. So you can talk on the out-breath, and I think about keep talking until you run out of air by using the diaphragm to empty the lower part of the lungs. Then relax the diaphragm. Relax the chest. Release. Sit up straight. Lift the arms a little bit higher. Think of the space above your head. If you're inside, up above the ceiling, up above the roof. Outside, up above the clouds, way up into the sky. Even if you're not able to take the hands up quite so high, think of it projecting upward. But relax and let the weight stay down low. Move the weight across onto one side. Remember the exercise we were practicing earlier? Strong and stable. Position the knee, turn from the hips, sit up straight. Take all the weight off that other foot. Keep everything level, whatever level works for you, it's okay. But I always think of the guide, go as far as you can. Comfortably. If you do that today, you will probably be able to do it tomorrow. If you don't do it today, tomorrow's turned into yesterday. And it's not long before you say, once upon a time, I remember when I used to be able to do that. It is. Use it or lose it. Opening, pushing out with the palms, softening the knees, relaxing the arms, getting ready. Sit with the hips to scoop and gather, sit up through the back as if holding something heavy. Start to push and spiral, to rotate, to extend. Again, think of the lifting, lengthening, opening, releasing, lowering, getting ready, sitting to scoop and gather, to activate, and to extend and project upwards. Whatever level feels good for you. Perhaps if you're not able to go quite as far in lifting the heels, sit nice and flat into the feet. And as you start to come up, move the weight just slightly forward into the front of the feet. And move back into the heels and around the outside of the foot, balancing evenly between the front and the back, the inside and the outside. As if you could reach into the sky and separate the clouds. Returning to the center, sitting in the horse riding stance. Focus. Turn the body to breathe in. Relax the shoulders and chest to release the elbow. Turn to roll the arms to breathe in and expand to open the chest. Relax the chest, release the shoulders and elbow. Push. It's like 2 exercises in one. Rolling and opening. Sitting and pushing. Empty the breath. Expand to open the lungs. The elbows come up. Relax the chest. The elbows release. Sitting to focus, coordinate the strength naturally from the center. Rolling the arms. And sitting to push. And I encourage you to think about the breathing. Opening, the elbows come up, you're expanding the chest. Relaxing the chest, the elbows should come down. But then pushing forward and back, the elbow goes forward, the other elbow comes back. And then you extend and turn to roll and sit to release to push. The harmony of the mind, the body, and the breath. Next, as if rowing a boat across the lake, paddling with the palms. Always reminds me of being at the beach, paddling through the water, double paddling. But energetically, think of the lifting up the back, up the spine, like skipping, bring the energy up. Even doing it slowly, you can get that feeling of the energy coming up, all the way to the top of the head. As you reach out and extend forward a little bit, think of coming down here to the tip of the tongue, on the palate, behind the top teeth. And as you sit back down into the middle of the movement, think of the energy right here in the middle of the body. Then sit to engage. Take your mind to the tip of the tailbone, up along the spine, lifting to the top of the head, over the top, down into the center of the body. Skipping, the energy lifting, extending and projecting out into the fingers from the tip of the toes. I think of it like the tiger pouncing, leaping into the air, the torso extending. All the energy coming back down to earth to sit and push through the water. As if rowing a boat across the lake. Next, the balance. Supporting the ball in front of the shoulder. Strong focus into the center of the palm. Focus on the edge of the hand. If you sit the heel down, the foot and the hand, focus into a strong position. Push down, pull across. Use that to sit, to center the weight, to center the balance, while you lift the other hand. A dynamic movement, postural integration from the center. The soles of the feet, the centers of the palms, and the top of the head are all connected. Relax. Release. Push. Lift. focus. Extending the breath calms the nervous system. The more we practice, the better we get at it. I know, because I've needed lots of practice to get to where I am now. Well, I really do think I can take control of my nervous system using the parasympathetic nervous system to overcome the sympathetic. Of course, stress and adrenaline is useful in the right place, but if you can't burn it up, if you don't have a need to use it, it accumulates like a poison in the body. Yet when we focus on changing the biochemical reactions inside the body, we release more of the positive long-term health. Well, that amazing medicine within, in the middle of the body, extends through the whole body, helping with healing, repairing, and maintaining the body for the long term. Next. Again, the energy, like a bouncing ball, hits the ground, it releases, it goes up into the air, it goes as far as it can until it runs out of energy, then gravity takes over and it falls, going back down again. So I want to think of softening the knees, then sitting with the hips, engaging right through the center of the body, and then lifting through the legs, moving through the center, lengthening the spine, extending to project up through the arms into the fingertips. As if you're turning to look and gaze at the moon. I think it's going to be a big moon tonight. I couldn't see it so well last night. The clouds were in the way when I was looking for it, but hopefully get a chance to see the moon tonight. Just a reminder of the natural cycles of how time moves on, always changing. But again, always going around the cycles of nature. As we know, time moves on. We never really can take the same breath twice. Each breath is a new breath. Try to savor. Try to enjoy and appreciate just how lucky we are to have our lungs efficiently working to keep us alive. The mind, the body, and the breath in harmony. It really is a very important key point. Again, people say, why didn't you go faster? I'm not out of breath. Why would I? If I can relax and feel comfortable, then that's okay. Sometimes you might have to break it up into 2 breaths if necessary to maintain the slow movement. Breathe in, expand and open the space. Relax to breathe out, close the space. Gather like embracing the tiger and sitting to return to the mountain like the monk in meditation. Breathe in to pull back. I might just do a little bit of a breakdown on some of these movements. I think of starting my old lawnmower. If I pull it out here, it's going to hurt the back. If I just turn the body and pull, it was very strong. Yeah. And pushing. Like the monk in meditation. Focus on the edge of the hand, on the center of the palm, and pushing down to the side. Sitting down to the lowest point, sweeping across, and then pulling back. So if you focus on your left hand from 12 o'clock, you go to 3 o'clock, down to 6 o'clock, back up to 9 o'clock, and each quadrant, the movement is changing, focusing and then releasing and becoming the next move. If you focus on a circle, then every single one of the 360 degrees are equal. Turning the body to sit and push with the palm. Breathing in to expand and open. Breathing out to focus and direct our chi to connect the whole body. Turning the body to the side to breathe in, sitting into the middle to breathe out. Then we change direction, the cloud hands. And if you focus on the right hand, you can think about the circle, down to 6 o'clock, lifting comfortably up to 9 o'clock, rolling through the shoulder, the elbow, and out onto the back of the hand to 12 o'clock, turning, pulling back and starting to push down to 3 o'clock. Naturally lifting with the palm, using the whole arm to sit to the center, likewise turning away to the side. Pushing down, sitting up, focus to the center. Often I do go bigger or larger, but I'm just keeping this around about the middle size this morning. If you're not so sure of the movement, imagery can help you. A common image is like reading a book, sitting up straight in the middle, then turning to the side to put the book in the other hand, waving the hands like clouds rolling by, smooth and continuously flowing. And moving the weight to the right, sit with the hips to get the balance to lift the knee, open out to place the heel, lower the toes, put the knee into alignment, relax down, then sit to scoop and gather. Push back, sitting without leaning or tilting, stretch through the back as far as you can comfortably, open to the horizon, lower the toes, put the knee into alignment, sit with the hips, scoop together. Now in the sitting back, I like to think of this as the sitting down into the foot, drawing the toes up from the sole of the foot, activating the muscles in the front leg as well. Then relaxing the front leg, put the knee into alignment for the bow stance, and sit with the hips to engage the core strength right up to the top of the head. Let's change sides. 1 to get the balance, 2 to lift the knee, 3 to place the foot, and repeat. 1, 2, 3. Relax. Release. Scoop together. A great exercise. Next, the push, like pushing waves. Shoulder moves the elbow forward. The elbow rotates the forearm. The angle of the elbow opens slightly. The wrist flexes and the focus goes into the center of the palm. Pushing back, it all closes a little bit, but the center of the palm hollows and the strength goes onto the outside of the hand. Push to push down, sitting down, release to become neutral, sit to engage from the center down into the feet and into the palms. The 5 important energy gates: the soles of the feet, the centers of the palms, and the top of the head, all connecting into the center. Again, a very common mistake is to have tight wrists and tight hands and do nothing. Dead wood, the first to break in the storm. So even if the hands change and then push down and stay stuck, it's like dead wood, there's nothing happening. So try to encourage the flow of the movements, the use of all the joints coordinating as one from the center. I think of it like ward off, push down, sit together, push and lift, come back and change again. Of course, I love going to the ocean as well. See the energy moving, the interface between the air, the land, and the water. There's a lot of energy there. I think of the energy lifting the wave. The face of the wave comes up. It moves forward in time towards you, towards the beach. And the wave breaks. The water falls. Gravity takes over. It settles to find the lowest level, and then the next wave of energy comes through. I really admire those people that can catch the wave, tap into the energy, and then use that to get the flow of those amazing surf maneuvers that many can do. Pushing waves. All energy moves in waves. Change again. As we do, I just want to take a moment to think about the alignment. That center position, sitting. If the knee is strong, then the middle of the body can move over the top. If the knee is weak, then you tend to stress the knee as you move forward. But if you keep the knee in good alignment, then the body can sit. So when doing our Tai Chi and Qigong exercises, we really don't need to go too far with the knee. In fact, once the knee is in that position, it just stays there, even if I'm going right down into a squatting movement. See? Still in the same position. If the knee went forward, I'll break my knee. It might take a few years, but if we keep doing little things wrong, it accumulates. But if we keep doing little things correctly, it also accumulates. And sometimes we do have problems from previous injuries and things like that. But whatever the condition, the best thing to do is still manage it as best you can. Keeping that concept of being kind and gentle to yourself, nurturing and cultivating. I often think of it like, if I've got a problem, I want to look after it like my best friend. I want to think about it, take care of it, Make sure it doesn't get into trouble. Not always easy. Friends can be challenging. And so can other problems in life. But if we do the best we can, that's the most important. The flying dove, the universal symbol of peace. Calm heart, clear mind. Changing. So in some ways I think I'm very lucky. I came across Tai Chi at the right time. It's helped me to learn a lot of very important lessons through life. I've had my challenges. It hasn't always been easy. But I'm thankful that I have been able to have something to use to help me get through. I changed the angle a little bit so it's a bit easier to see. Normally I'd just be here on the 45-degree angle. But then coming back again, returning to the center, the punching exercise. Here's a good opportunity if you want to go a little bit wider, sit a little bit lower, get a little bit more work onto the muscles. Don't have to, but it's a good spot to focus on that. Breathe in. Relax the chest. Activate the diaphragm. Squeeze the bones. Release. In the harder styles, and like the Shaolin, Yi Jin Jing, and things like that, sometimes there's more focus on activating the muscles, squeezing the bones that little bit harder. I think we can make use of that bone breathing exercise to help stimulate our immune system, to stimulate the bone marrow as well as strengthening the bones and the muscles. But I always think of it that in Tai Chi we think more mind than muscles. It doesn't mean the muscles don't activate. It just means that there's more mental focus to direct the energy of the muscles. And they don't stay tight, they're not held, locked or strained. There's a gradual activating, squeezing to the maximum, and a releasing just as slowly and just as carefully. Focus the mind, the body, and the breath. Dayan, great birds, the migrating geese. Maybe in the next session I'll spend a little bit more time, have a look at the story of Dayan, great birds. Why they're called the great birds. For some reason we tend to think of silly goose. There's much more to the geese than meets the eye. But this one reminds me of the migration, the long flights. A big circle, like a rotating wheel. In the Tai Chi classics it says 30 spokes have a wheel, but they're all connected to the hub to move from the center. So of course inferring that there's many different parts to the body, But all those parts come back to the center. Right here in the middle of the body. Down to the feet, to the earth. Up through the spine and the top of the head into the sky. And with the arms to be able to open to the horizon all around. To change direction. Again, to think of the balance, first just take a step forward, like as if you're going to push against something. Your feet will be about the width of the hips, back foot naturally on that 45-degree angle so that you can sit. Swap to the other foot. There's a little bit of a feeling on that on both sides. So when you sit back, you can still sit and push. In Tai Chi we have our empty stance. And we can use this in this exercise, stepping to bounce the ball. So if I put my foot down straight, I'll move across and let the body turn to about 45 degrees to lift the knee. Focus on the posture, lower the foot, put it back into position again, and then center the body. The mass over the base, to lift the spirit to focus upward while I sit down, and to get the flow movement, lifting and pushing with the palm. Use that pushing down to continue to stabilize the body as I sit onto the side, to turn and lift the other side. Stepping while bouncing a ball. So if I had the feet on an angle, then I'd be able to sit and do a straightening front. But I like the idea of controlling the foot, just like in each of the Tai Chi steps. Every little part is important. Placing the foot without moving anyway, then moving the knee over the foot, then adjusting from the center of the body, sitting to lift. So in a Tai Chi form, I might be doing something like the golden cock stands on one leg. Might be getting ready to do strong lute. It may be to separate the hands and feet to kick. But all of these things are the same. They're built on that skill. So using the foundation exercises of the 18 techniques, it really can help us to be able to do our Tai Chi forms and other traditional arts correctly. But even if you don't know those arts, if you practice the 18 techniques well, with a focus on the foundations, then you're building that skill anyway. And in some ways, it makes it more accessible. Lift the spirit. Keep the head up. Chin in a little bit to lengthen the back of the neck. Relax the scalp, the forehead, the face, the eyes, the jaw, the tongue, the throat. Keep a little smile. Relax the chest. The breath has been with you for as long as you've been around, and it'll stay with you for as long as you're here. Learn to appreciate the breath. Remembering that a big breath is also a part of the immune system. It helps release stem cells to repair and also flood the bloodstream with the immune cells. A calm heart. Tune in, be aware of your heart. The heart pumping,
keeping us alive, but it's also connected through the mind and the emotions. When we relax the breathing, calm the heart, we settle the chi down to the middle of the body. With no tension, our weight goes through the body, through the legs, through the feet, into the earth. And it allows the spirit to come up through the spine, just like as if you've won the wellness lottery. So even if you don't feel so good sometimes, try and put yourself into a good position to lift the spirit and settle the chi. Yin yang, in balance. A gesture of respect and humility. Respect and appreciation for all things and for each other. Hope you have a great day. Look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm going to be going right through Easter, so I will do a session on Good Friday, this Friday, and on Monday. If you're not able to make it, that's okay. But as most people won't be going anywhere, you're probably able to do that. It's still a good way to start the day. So I look forward to seeing you then. Stay well.